Welcome to Death Do Us Part.
What up?
It's a paranormal experience.
And my name's Chris.
And my name's Samantha. So welcome back, everyone.
Thanks for tuning in on this Wicked Wednesday.
Yes, Wicked Wednesday. We're going to be getting shirts made, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
With our logo on it.
Hoodies.
Hoodies, yeah.
T-shirts.
Especially for this fall. Today is the first day of fall.
Tank tops.
Mugs, because we love coffee.
Oh, mugs.
We have stickers. So if anyone wants a sticker, let us know.
Yeah, write in. Tell us you want a sticker.
So how's everyone doing?
I'm good. Thanks for asking.
I'm doing great. Started my new job.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome. I love it.
Congratulations.
Thanks, babe.
You're welcome.
So should we talk about our weekend?
Well, we should tell them definitely about Bates Motel.
It was awesome. If you don't know what the Bates Motel and the Haunted Hayride is, it's at Arisafa Farms. It's in Glen Mills, PA. This has been, well, it says a 25th, I can't even talk, 25-year anniversary. So this season marks 25 years. It is awesome. They have a corn maze. They have the hayride, which I like everything else. They also have the Bates Motel, like the house. But the hayride is my favorite thing.
It was awesome. I've never seen anything so cool in my life.
Yeah, like between like the animatronic, I can't even talk.
What's wrong?
I don't know. I think I drank too much coffee. The animatronics, and then just like the makeup, and it's like a little town that you go through.
It was like at least 11 different sets.
It was awesome.
There was a Freddy Krueger scene, like a boiler room. There was like Jurassic Park. There was like some hillbilly, like redneck stuff.
Yeah, that was like one of my favorites.
There was the insane asylum. There was like the abandoned town with the gas station.
The abandoned town's probably my favorite because you're going through and you see these people and it's like they're skeletons and they're all sitting around a campfire, and then you come around and you see like you said, the abandoned gas station, and there's, what did it say, Blood Bath and Beyond or something like that. Like yeah. It's so cool, like all the hard work that they put into it. We had the time of our lives. We can't wait to go back. And then we got our pictures taken, and we were like in coffins.
Yeah, it was fun.
Chris was a little creeped out by doing that, but then he did it.
I did it.
The pictures turned out awesome. We posted them on Facebook. Cool. They're really cool. And they gave us, because it was the opening weekend of the 25-year anniversary, they gave us this nice little, like, what do you call it? Like this fold thing that our picture's in, and it says in all like metallic silver colors.
Bates Motel and Haunted Hayride.
Yeah, 25-year anniversary. It was so cool. So
commemorative.
Yeah. We're getting really excited for the Halloween season, and fall just hit us today, actually.
We went to Linville Orchards. We were shopping through all the Halloween stuff.
Yeah, they had their Linville Orchards over in, I guess it's considered Middletown, but they had their fall festival, and there was a bunch of different like Halloween type decorations and like little props and stuff like that. And my mother-in-law actually got us, because she knows Halloween's our favorite, actually got us a statue, and it's a bride and groom, but they're skeletons. And the little groom's wearing his top hat. It's so cute. I loved it. So yeah, we had a really great weekend.
We did. It was a little too hot for me, though.
I know, but you got over it. You were fine.
So
our episode today, I'm excited about this one. You guys always hear I'm so excited about like every episode. Just going through and doing so much research, it just gets
excited.
Me. I get excited because I want to go to these places, right. And we're going to be doing haunted hotels and bed and breakfasts.
Haunted hotels. The first place we're going to talk about is a New Orleans-style hotel. It's located at 24 Broadway, Jim Thorpe, Pennsylvania. The grounds in which the inn at Jim Thorpe stands today was originally built by a man named Cornelius Connor. The original structure was built in the year 1833 and called the White Swan Hotel. Accommodated thousands of visitors to the town during the era that it was a coal transportation hub. In the year of 1849, there was a fire that burned the building to the ground, and it eventually was rebuilt and renamed the New American Hotel. Many famous faces stayed under the roof of the new American hotel, such as General Ulysses S. Grant, President William H. Taft, Buffalo Bill, Thomas Edison, and John D. Rockefeller. In 1988, the owner John Dreary restored the historic building to the original splendor and then renamed it the Inn at Jim Thorpe. In addition, some unexplained events have occurred here. As per usual, when discussing the paranormal, many guests have seen orbs and shadows in pictures that they took at the hotel. And on many different occasions, different guests who stayed at the hotel at different times reportedly experienced some freaky things happening in specific rooms. It has been reported that in room number 315, guests have been woken up to some ruckus, and when they open their eyes to see that the chairs in the room have been turned upside down. Another creepy unexplained thing that happened in room 310. The story is reported that a nurse becomes quite annoyed when you occupy the same bed as a patient she is tending to. If you lie down in the same bed as her patient, it is said you can feel her icy grip. You may also see her white figure. Others have said to have seen a tall man with slick back hair in room 310 as well. In room 211, some things like the TV turning off and on its own has happened, as well as personal items belonging to the guests have been moved around. A man stayed the night and left his boots by the door, only to wake up and notice they were gone. So he opened the door to the room and found them outside. Towels have been shoved in the toilet. Guests have heard noise of laughing children, and when they turn around to look, or even in the hallways, there's no one in sight. Down the hall at room 303, there are unexplainable shadows and orbs. In room 203, a guest claimed that a ghost put his cell phone in the refrigerator. Some have seen a faceless lady in Victorian attire and have witnessed her vanish into closed doors. Many guests have supposedly seen spirit shadows in the downstairs foyer and lobby, and as mentioned before, have caught orbs in black mist like images, photographs they taken at the inn. The innkeeper has even set up a disclaimer about spirits in the house just so no one is too surprised when an unfamiliar guest makes an appearance, or that when the furniture is flipped upside down.
That was a really good one, Chris.
Thanks.
Good job finding that one.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I don't know how I'm going to follow that because the next one that I have, they're considered friendly ghosts.
Oh.
So the hotel that I'm going to be giving some information about is called Hotel Bethlehem. And of course, it's in Bethlehem, PA. It's also had a lot of paranormal activities that occurs at the establishment, and they're very openly proud of it too. Like it's part of their advertisement. On the website to the hotel, they refer to the spirits as friendly ghosts. And something I found really interesting on their website, it says, when you consider the site's history, known for its hospitality, since the early 18th century, it's not surprising that there are spirits within the hotel. So they make it clear, like, our place is haunted. If you see something, like, I mean, you already know before you got there.
Right.
So Bethlehem's famous first house was built in 1741. Wow. It was located on the site until 1823, when the Eagle Hotel replaced it. Then in 1921, Hotel Bethlehem took the Eagle's place. So there's some brief history on it. The majority of the information I've researched about this historic hotel, just want to let you guys know, it came directly from the website.
There you have it.
Yes. So the first friendly guest, her name was May Yo. Thanks for that.
You're welcome.
Also known as Lady Frances Hope. She was the granddaughter of the owner of the hotel, and May was born at the Eagle Hotel when it was the Eagle Hotel in April 1866. During her prime years, May would sing for guests in the lobby, and it was said that she was so very talented.
Shout out.
Some say they can still hear her, and as per the website, they say when the piano player turns on by itself, as it often does, they have an idea who's messing with it.
Oh.
And Miss Yo has been seen in the third floor exercise room and around the lobby.
Doing yoga?
No, probably singing. I don't know what she's doing. Walking around, just wandering. Her old stomping grounds. Then, in 1833, there was a couple, Mr. and Mrs. Brong, the hotel quote-unquote landlords. So I'm assuming that they were like front desk landlords. Like, I guess they booked the rooms for the guests. They were terminated after a brief 6-month period of working there. Mm-hmm. So Mr. Brong, he's usually not seen, but I'll give you a little background on him. Apparently, Mr. Brong would get a little too intoxicated.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, in front of guests. So he would take full advantage of the bar that they had at the hotel. And the hotel's website described him as being inebriated like all the time. And when I saw that, it made me think of my pop-up. My pop-up just passed away, like, I don't know, almost like 2 months ago. And he would overuse that word so much. Like, all his grandbabies were all around all the time. And, you know, my pop-up saw us in all different shapes and forms. And we got drunk. I got drunk one time and I was there and he was like, "Baby, you were inebriated." So when I read that, it just made me think of him. Like, yeah. So anyway, Mrs. Brong, who otherwise would have been considered the perfect hostess, she had a bad habit of not following the dress code. She would show up to work not wearing shoes. I'm not sure what her situation was. She also wouldn't wear her stockings.
Interesting.
So they were let go from the company. And there's
Too bad.
Well, I mean, you don't follow the dress code.
You get drunk at work.
And you get drunk at work, right. In front of the,
Patrons,
the guests,
yeah.
Right. So they were let go from the company, and there have been reports from kitchen staff and dinner guests throughout the years of seeing a vision of a woman in clothing from the era of the 1800s, and she's walking around with no shoes or socks on. And hotel staff had no doubt that that was Mrs. Brong.
Who else could it be?
Right. Exactly.
She really left her mark on a place she only worked 6 months.
I know. I was thinking that. But who knows? Because she could have still went there. Like, she could have went there.
She might have just loved that place.
She probably did.
It broke her damn heart.
I know. So Mrs. Brong is primarily she's seen in the kitchen, restaurant area of the hotel.
Oh, okay.
Now, room 932 is advertised as room with a boo. It has the most significant record of paranormal activity, and a couple staying in that room reported being woken up by a man standing in front of their bed asking, "Why are you in my room?"
Freaky.
That is freaky, because if I woke up to that, I would be like, 911, like, there's a creepy man in my room.
I'd be like, "Bro, I paid for this room.
Right.
Get out."
So they ended up waking up to this guy saying, "Why are you in my room?" And they switched on the light real fast.
Yeah.
And when they did it, nobody was there.
No one was there.
There have been numerous accounts of seeing reflections in the mirror that are not there moments later. And also, guests have stayed in room 932 with no past knowledge of the hotel or that room in particular, and have frequently reported unexplained happenings, such as papers standing straight up that were sitting on the desk, and even the paper just like flying off the desk. And also reports of lamps flashing on and off. And what do we know that spirits mess with the electricity.
Right.
And the weirdest thing to me is that the bathroom, it has wallpaper, which a lot of places don't have wallpaper
Not
anymore.
yeah.
But I guess this is such a historic building that they still do.
Side note, I grew up in a house with wallpaper.
Thanks for sharing.
You're welcome.
But the wallpaper in the bathroom would sometimes turn like this pink color.
Oh.
Yeah, that's
like
really...
Pepto-Bismol pink?
I'm not sure what shade of pink, but it would turn a pink color.
Side note, the house I grew up in, someone decided to paint the bathroom Pepto-Bismol pink. It was awful.
Oh, gosh. So, many guests took pictures in room 932 where orbs appear clear as day in the images. And in April of 2007, the hotel invited a paranormal investigator to stay overnight in that room. And he recorded many voices saying things like, "It's Mary." I wanted to do it. What a beautiful bathroom.
I'm locking myself in the closet.
Look out the window. The hotel admits room 932 does have a spectacular view, And it also occasionally provides unexpected visitors and activities. And this is also one of their most frequently requested rooms.
The next bed and breakfast we're going to explore is the Aaron Burr House, which is located in New Hope, PA. Fun fact, around October and November, the town kicks off its annual ghost walking tours, which we have to go try.
Yeah, we definitely do.
The bed and breakfast is also said to be haunted, and spirits been spotted roaming the house, peering around corners, and the owners have found an escape tunnel underneath the gazebo, which they believe was a stop at the Underground Railroad. The Aaron Burr House is said to be haunted by a 12-year-old escaped slave named Sarah. Guests claim that they hear her scratching the walls inside a hidden staircase that leads to the tunnel. Sarah has also apparently appeared to young girls in her own age group.
A few minutes down the road from the Aaron Burr House is the Logan Inn. The historic inn was built in the year of 1722, and many guests have reported feeling a very cold presence in room number 6. Some also have made claims of feeling as if it's hard to breathe when entering the room. And other reports have been made of seeing a tall, soldier-like shadowy figure wandering the halls of the establishment. And that makes sense, though, because apparently the Logan Inn was a stop for General Lord Sterling, since his army passed through New Hope. And researchers say that his troops camped out there and left their dead in the cellar, since the ground was frozen and they were unable to be buried until the springtime.
Gross. Let me just say that when you started to say General, I thought you were going to say Sal's.
I call General So's chicken. So you're wrong.
Well, there you have that.
Yeah, there you have that, guys. That's a bunch of different hotels and bed and breakfasts. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope,
Me too.
Maybe it inspired you guys to want to visit some of these places, because those of you that are in PA, a lot of these places are like an hour, 2 hours, an hour and a half from Philly. So, I mean, I know after doing this research, I want to go to the Bethlehem Hotel.
Haunted history.
This week, our haunted history story is going to be about the Murder Hotel. Have you ever heard of it?
On American Horror Story.
Well, I was going to say, this is another fun fact on this episode, but American Horror Story Hotel was actually inspired by this story.
The Murder House.
No. The hotel, American Horror Story Hotel.
Oh, they got the whole...
Yeah.
They got the whole season.
Right. I don't think you watched that one. But anyway. So I do want to give credit to maskofreason.wordpress.com. That's where I got this story from that I will be reading tonight for our haunted history. So, imagine this. Just try to imagine we're staying at a hotel. The hotel has secret rooms and hidden passages, and a completely insane owner who murders and cuts up the victims in some strange surgical experiment. Victims, aka the hotel guests. 27 victims to be exact, and there's some speculation that there could be more victims. The Murder Hotel events happen in Chicago from about the years of 1889 to 1894. The loony in charge of the hotel was Dr. H.H. Holmes, but that actually was an alias he used. His real name was Herman Webster Mudgett, and he was called Holmes by many people. Holmes' murder spree began when he was working for Dr. E.S. Holton at the doctor's pharmacy in Englewood, a suburb of Chicago. After Dr. Holton passed away, Holmes convicted his widow to sell the drugstore to him. She then mysteriously vanished, likely one of his first victims. Holmes bought the building across the street from the pharmacy, a long building known as the Castle by neighborhood residents. He intended to refurbish it into a hotel in time for the World's Fair in 1893. Holmes designed the new interior of the building himself, including hidden passages, trap doors, dungeon-like basements, and torture rooms. Some of the rooms were designed to be airtight so they could be used like a gas chamber. Others had metal walls and flamethrowers built into them to burn victims to death. There was a crematorium and a lye pit for disposal of bodies. Holmes thought of it all. Once a hotel opened, his victims were mostly female and would come from his own staff as opposed to guests. He made his employees take out life insurance policies with him as the beneficiary, and then killed them, gaining the insurance money while feeding his murderous appetite. Most of his victims were blonde women, though he murdered men and children. Holmes was very creative in his killings. As mentioned above, he had makeshift gas chambers and ovens. He also had large airtight vault near his office where he would put victims in and let them asphyxiate. He used poison on some, and most were dissected after death. Their flesh flayed from the bone so that he could sell the skeletons to medical schools. I wonder if they wondered where this guy got these bones.
Hey man, thanks for the skeletons, man. We needed these. I'm not gonna ask any questions.
Right? The corpses he couldn't use, he would cremate or bury in the lye pit. His basement workshop was splattered with blood and bits of gore.
Ugh.
The shelves lined with bottles of poison, acid, and all sorts of nasty chemicals. It really was like stepping into a horror movie, though there weren't such things back then. All good things must end, of course, and Holmes eventually was caught. He left Chicago after the World's Fair. He couldn't afford to pay the creditors on the hotel, and he was tired of the city. He left caretakers in charge of the hotel, with strict orders not to go in the upper floors, and that's where the torture rooms were. He moved to Texas for a time, intending to create another murder hotel, but eventually decided he didn't like it in Texas. He ended up in St. Louis, where he was arrested for a horse swindle, during which he got the idea to make money by faking his own death.
Swindler!
He eventually convinced a longtime friend of his, Benjamin Peitzel, to help with the scheme. Peitzel would pretend to be an inventor injured in a lab accident, and then they would fake his suicide for insurance money. This dude was just a crook. The only problem for Peitzel was that Holmes didn't fake the death. He killed the man and collected the insurance. He then convinced Peitzel's widow to allow 3 of her children to travel with him, and then simultaneously travel with the widow. He eventually killed 2 of the girls in Toronto, prompting a search for him. He was tracked in Indianapolis, having recently killed the young son of Benjamin Peitzel, dismembered the corpse, and burned the remains in a cottage fireplace. Bits of teeth and bone from the boys were found. They did not catch Holmes, however. Why did the wife trust her, for her children to go near this guy? I don't know.
She thought that Holmes and Peitzel were tight.
I guess so, but I don't know.
He's a con man.
I guess we know the other side of it, so we're like, why?
Yeah, why would you do that? Don't go with him.
Okay.
Keep your kids at home. Lock your kids. Lock your wife.
His final downfall came when a former cellmate revealed that he was in Boston, where he was arrested on an outstanding warrant for horse theft from Texas.
Ooh.
As police dug into Holmes' background, they learned from the custodians of the Chicago hotel that they were never allowed to clean up the top floor. The police investigated and found the grisly remains of Holmes' victims. While Holmes only confessed to killing 27, police estimated only 27.
Yeah, just 27.
Police estimated that the real number, oh my gosh, might be closer to 100 to 200 victims due to all the missing person reports from that area in the years that Holmes was operating, quote unquote, the murder castle.
Oh, God.
Holmes was found guilty of 27 counts of murder and was hung on May 7th, 1896 in the Philadelphia County Prison.
Let's go, Philly.
Yeah.
Shout out Philly.
He did not die instantly. The rope failed to stop his neck.
The fuck?
Reports say that he twitched for more than 15 minutes
Oh.
before finally dying. I know, but for someone as sick and twisted as him, I'm glad he suffered. I know it's like a horrible vision to think
Yeah.
about, but
It was
I mean,
probably nice.
it was deserving of him.
Like, everyone watching was like, yeah, I'm going to stand here for 15 minutes longer and watch this.
Oh my
And be
gosh.
satisfied.
Get this.
What?
So he had a final request. You want to know what it was?
Yes.
His last request was to be buried in concrete so that no one could dissect him as he had dissected his victims.
Oh.
The hotel burned down in August of 1895, a year before Holmes was put to death. A post office is now located at this site. I bet that post office is on it.
Yeah, every piece of mail you get.
Just flying off everywhere. The last caretaker of the hotel committed suicide, and his family claims that he was haunted for weeks prior to killing himself.
Oh.
Wow, that is a crazy, crazy story. And just to think that I watched American Horror Story Hotel, so I had no idea about, this whole story. I just found out about this, recently doing this episode. But that is just a wild story. This guy ran this hotel.
It's incredible what people could get away with.
It really is.
It was a time in history when things were big enough to do something like that, but not.
Well, that's what I'm thinking, because if he had all these different dungeons and all these different rooms and the crematory in a hotel, why do you need that? Why do you need an area to do cremations in a hotel? And that made me think, did they do inspections back then? You know what I mean? Did inspectors come out and make sure that the business was running fine, that the buildings were good? Nobody saw this?
How did they identify people then?
I don't know. I know that they said that they found Peetzel's son's teeth, and I know now that they can identify by dental records, but I don't know how it was back then.
How'd they know the guy they found in a totally different state was the same one they were looking for back then?
Right, because... yeah, everything was so different then. But that is the story of the Murder Hotel.
A little piece of horror. So what better way to end an episode about haunted hotels than by digging into the classic,
The Shining.
This week we'll be giving our movie a rating out of Jack Nicholson Head Through Doors.
Yeah, when he comes through the door with an axe.
Now, we want to ask you, is he smiling or is it a crazy psychotic?
Oh, it's definitely a crazy psychotic state of mind that he's in when he's crashing through the door. But this week, we're going to do things a little different. So instead of describing the scariest part, just because the sound effects and the sounds in The Shining are so scary, we're going to play clips of our favorite, most scariest parts of The Shining.
Right.
So my favorite part that's the scariest is when the little boy, I don't remember his name, but when his mom is sleeping on the bed, Shelley Duvall's character is sleeping on the bed, and he's in the room, and he's got the knife, and he's like, Rad Rom. Oh, I sound good.
You sound just like him.
Rom.
We don't even need to play it.
I want to play
Keep
it, though.
Keep doing it.
Rad Rom. But anyway, he ends up spelling murder on the door in the blood, and his mom wakes up, and she's freaking out because she wakes up, and this little boy's out front. I'm describing it. Anyway, let's play the clip.
Red rum. 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 Stop it. Red rum. Red rum. Red rum.
That kid is a nightmare.
He is. It's so scary, though. You see why that's, to me, the scariest part?
Yeah.
Because it's this little boy, that's her son. And she's waking up, and he has a knife, and he's screaming red rum. And to me, if I woke up in the middle of the night and some kid was screaming, or our kid, was screaming red rum, I would be like, what is that? Because she doesn't fully understand what he's saying until she looks over and sees on the door where it's spelled in blood and it says red rum backwards, but she's looking in the mirror, so it says murder the other way. So freaky.
This movie is so freaky. Stephen King's a genius.
He is. I love Stephen King. When I was a kid, I used to read Stephen King books all the time.
Ditto.
Really? I read Carrie. I read Pet Sematary. I started to read it, but it's 1,000 pages long. So wow. I stopped. Maybe I was 12.
Yeah.
So maybe I'll try again.
You should. They're good. My favorite part is the caretaker part because it's so weird.
I don't know if I remember that one.
It's when Jack Nicholson's in the bathroom with the caretaker And he says, aren't you the caretaker, the one that hacked his wife and kids to pieces?
Oh, yeah.
And the caretaker says, no, sir, that's you. And he's like, I'm quite sure you're the caretaker. You've always been the caretaker. He's like, you know how I know? Because I've always been here. And it's like, what? So,
It's like
Jack knew about himself before he was ever at the place, but he's always been at the same place.
That is weird. Are you going to play a clip? I think you
you
should. For those of you who don't remember, like I just didn't.
Mr. Grady, you were the caretaker here. I recognize you. I saw your picture in the newspapers. You, chopped your wife and daughter up into little bits. And, then you blew your brains out.
I'm sorry to differ with you, sir. But you are the caretaker. You've always been the caretaker. I should know, sir. I've always been here.
Okay, that is definitely creepy. And you know what makes that scene even more creepy? How still it sounds. Like, it just sounds like they're just like, I don't know, just the stillness in it. And then the classical music in the background just makes it, like, extra.
Like, he could have literally been there forever.
He could have been there forever. And it also seems like, how'd that guy stay so calm when he was like, you...
So matter of fact.
Yeah. That was a good one. That was a good one. Yeah.
I'm going to have to give this movie 5 out of 5 smiling Jack Nicholson head through doors.
All right. So, I love this movie, but I want to give it 4 out of 5.
And now it's time for the Paranormal Box.
The Paranormal Box.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Let's get it.
As you guys know by now, the Paranormal Box is when we read our listener stories. These are people that have written in from all over. And I chose this story primarily because there was a haunting in this man's house, which caused him to experience some sort of mental illness, so to speak. And it made me think of Jack Nicholson's character in The Shining. And what he experienced from staying in the hotel. This story is sent in by TJ the Insane, and it's subjected Childhood Ghost Story. How's it going? I'm from Australia, and my ancestors are considered the most ruthless Australian bushrangers in the history of Australia, the Clark brothers. I am named after one of them, but I personally would like to stay anonymous due to my criminal background, mainly the nature of my crimes. I'll begin. When I was a child, I had multiple people inside of my head that would convince me to do things I shouldn't. Visual hallucinations would come to me every night in the form of demonic-looking vision created from general child stuff like Jack Frost or a scary character from TV, etc. Like very detailed visions that I can still remember. Jack Frost with his ice-white skin and blue veins, beard of dead hair all mangy and frozen, balding Frost head with ice crown and a large spiked shell, same as Bowser from Mario. I would become ill regularly, including physically debilitating illnesses, and also always getting neck injuries like knotted veins and crook neck. When I was 5, I tried to burn down the primary school I was meant to attend a year later. The primary school was about 1 kilometer from my house, and I just decided at 7 p.m. one night at 5 years old, see if I'm going to do this. I kept trying to light things on fire, and I eventually ran out of matches. I was picked up by detectives on the way home. But funnily enough, once we moved away from that particular house, everything changed, and I was a semi-normal, partly traumatized kid. But now, at the age of 27, I still have unfavorable dreams involving this man. And he's a shadow, with a wide-brimmed flat hat, like a rancher or something, and also a billowing trench coat, and a shadowy silhouette that's always there. and he's standing in the yard of the house, and I run forever and ever, but just can't get away from him. I believe it was some kind of haunting, and that I was actually possessed, but no one believes me, honestly. Even now, after all the trauma that I've went through, I feel like I'm a fucked up 27-year-old with mental disorders, borderline personality disorders, and severe depression by some unresolved childhood trauma, which I think stems from the hauntings. Oh, the house was owned by a judge, so maybe he wrongly convicted some people and their souls for whatever reason followed him there and stayed there.
TJ, the insane.
Thank you so much for writing in, TJ.
Really appreciate it.
And I know you said that no one believes you, but we definitely do.
We believe in you.
And we're happy that you sent that in to us.
And, I hope everything gets better for you, honestly.
Yeah, me too. Well, that is all we have for this episode of Death Do Us Part.
Thank you.
I hope everybody enjoyed it.
Thank you for listening.
Yeah, thank you everyone for listening. I hope everybody enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun looking up all this information on all these haunted hotels, and I think we're going to be making some trips pretty soon. So, yeah, thanks everyone. I do want to give a shout out real fast because I'm all about like uplifting people and
being supportive.
Yeah, of course. Perfect word. I couldn't think of the word.
You're welcome.
But I want to give a shout out to my fellow Astonians. I've never used that word a day in my life, but whatever. I'm from
Sounds
Aston.
good.
It does sound good. I'm from Aston, PA, but there's two people that I went to school with that I know from my neighborhood that actually, they also have a podcast, and it's called Cool De La, and that's hosted by Brian and Khalil. We all kind of grew up together. Well, we all went to the same school, but their podcast is really cool. They talk about it's really funny, and they touch on pop culture and stuff like that. So if you guys are into that kind of stuff, I recommend tuning into that podcast. And if you guys have stories of your own and you want us to read your paranormal stories on the podcast, email us at deathdouspartparanormal@gmail.com. And do is spelled D-U-E, like I always say because I can't spell. And as always, please rate, please subscribe, please tell a friend, and good night.
Oh, Lord, yeah.